Hey guys, in this video we're gonna be checking out the top 5 best dog training collars that are available on the market for their true quality. I made this list based in my personal opinion and hours of research and have listed them based on popularity, quality, price, durability, user opinions and more. If you want to see more information in the updated price, you can check out the description below and also make sure subscribe for more reviews. Okay, so let's get started with the video. Starting at number 5, we have the Lu & Ba Dog Training Collar. Lu & Ba wins over its competition in the small to medium dog range with its convenient remote, small receivers that still reach the skin, and soft stimulation levels suited for the dog's size in question. The collar worked well on one of my German Shepherd dogs who jumped high without any reason, which irritated me most of the time. Noticeable looks: I love the fresh colors on the remote and the darker ones on the collars. Some may agree that it should have been the other way around, when in reality, darker transmitters with light collars on dogs are noteworthy. Even if these collars do not have a dedicated light to find your pooch, the colors reflecting the light at suitable angles will help you with that. The remote's design has everything convenience should ask for. The buttons are all labeled well with even raised indications to allow blind usage. Having a tone button on the top followed by vibration and shock buttons, you will not get them wrong because of those indications. They have even made the vibration button in the middle a little larger to encourage using it instead of the shock mode. There's a small LCD beneath them, showing the stimulation levels, battery level, and the channel selected. Overall, the remote feels well constructed in the hands. I have dropped it a few times without any major damage to it. Only to save you from that, I advise you to use a lanyard. Decent range at 3,000 feet, the collar takes over the Educator e-collar in range. However, I found that the farthest the dog was with this one, the more inconsistencies in the signal barged in. That's the sole reason why I haven't replaced Educator e-collar with Lu & Ba. I also don't recommend it for huge dogs, the latter will take care of them easily. Battery life is commendable. One of the major highlights of the collar for small and medium dogs is its humongous battery life. It would go for day after day without dropping the signals when the battery would approach its end. When you put the remote on charge again, the light at the top indicates if it's connected, which is convenient in not having it accidentally removed from the socket. My usage record with the collar has been 2 weeks with 3 to 4 hours of usage per day. The remote could even go further, but I didn't want to finish the battery to zero for the sake of its life. However, like the Educator e-collar, Lu & Ba's battery may deteriorate over time. That's normal with battery-powered devices, one would say, and it's not wrong at all. Moving on, at number 4, we have the INVIROXX2 Dog Shock Collar. INVIROXX2 promises better days with your large dog by correcting their behaviors without hurting them. It's suitable for 8 pounds to 110 pounds as the company claims, but I've even tried it on Great Dane and Great Pyrenees without any problem. But I do think anything above that warrants a bungee collar. In fact, I want you to swap the strap for that in any collar because it's just so easy to put it on your dog. Design: satisfactory but needs improvement. There's not much in the design that I complain about, except for the fact that the remote is small for giant hands like mine. It may be okay for you, but you can guess my hands from the size of the thumb I discussed above. The main highlight of the design is the training collar, to be honest. Built small, they easily hide under the fur of the dog, which is a good thing as not many people will be able to see and give you a moral lecture. At the same time, however, it becomes harder to see if the collar's battery is still at full. In normal settings, such as using it with Great Danes who don't have long fur, you'd be able to locate the dog easily just from the battery indicator blinking. Otherwise, the strap is reflective as well. That comes in handy during your nightly walks with the pooch or when you're taking it out for a quick poop. Among other things that need the utmost improvement is the clip. It's plastic, so big dogs can easily rip through it. You should be wary of it. Coming back toward the remote, the button layout is fine. You'll use it without major hiccups as they all are within your thumb's reach. I enjoyed the layout where the shock button is on the top with the beep and vibration buttons looking at each other a bit down. The intensity increase-decrease buttons are situated below the shock button, thus, completing a near-perfect rhombus. They could have given a little space to the intensity increase-decrease buttons, and making them a little large would also have come in handy. At number 3, we have the Garmin Pro 550 Dog Training Collar. Garmin Pro 550 is a professional dog training collar. Not having enough knowledge about using this thing may break your dog's confidence. So, I only advise buying this for multiple dogs if you're keen on learning how to use it. The reason why I consider it the best collar for multiple dogs is its consistency, convenience in changing from low, medium, and high shock levels without taking the collar off, and the fact that it goes on for a long time. Design shows the collar mean business. The moment you hold the remote in your hand, you come to know how sturdy this thing is. I agree that it's a tad bit larger than most of the remotes that I've reviewed so far, but that's the whole point of owning it. You want something that won't slip from your hands. You want a remote that stays intact even when it hits the ground. And you want a remote that's long enough with space for each button without crowding everything in one place. That's exactly why my friends in law enforcement agencies prefer this product. The way they train dogs is quite different from ours. They focus on obedience more than anything, along with trying to teach the dog what's what and how to respond to that. In such scenarios, they tell me that Garmin Pro 550 never disappoints. Talking about the button layout, the top green button when pressed gives out a beep with vibration regardless of which mode you're on. Then follows the channel switch. It's like a small switch, better at function than a normal channel button. I haven't had a problem changing between the channels with my giant thumb, but sometimes in a hurry, I'd select the wrong dog and stimulate the poor thing for nothing. Followed by this is the switch for momentary, accessory, and continuous stimulation. When you choose momentary shock, the dog will receive short bursts of shock no matter how long you hold the button. The accessory is for toggling the lights on the collar, and continuous stimulation relays a continuous shock to the dog when you hold the button. But even that is for around 8 seconds. The two gigantic buttons below the switch are for administering shocks. The top one shocks the dog based on the shock level you've selected, but the bottom one is for lowering that a level or two. Hold the two together and you have a shock boost feature. The collar has lights on above and a bark mode that I'll talk about in a minute. Range could have been more. The range is about 1 mile. Looking at the target customers of the collar professionals, I expected it to go beyond 1 mile. For domestic users like you, this range is good enough. Take your dogs to hunting, park, or for a stroll in the forest. You'll be able to control them from afar without signal inconsistencies. Battery life: 24 hours is fine. Before commenting on the battery life, you have to understand that the collar is a high energy consumption device. It needs more power to keep multiple dogs running on specific channels. Therefore, 24 hours are more than enough to keep the thing alive. I wouldn't want you to go beyond 24 hours because there isn't any better indication to tell you that it's getting empty. At number 2, we have the Vsezund training collar. The Vsezund training collar is sleek, modern, and effective for small to medium dogs. It has almost all the features you could ask for in a day-to-day trainer for a price that does not break the bank. Design: I love how they have designed its remote and collar. They are slim, smart, and compact. The moment you hold them in your hands, you feel how the company has been keen on making something relatable in this age. The material used may not be premium because it's prone to scratching, but that doesn't mean that you won't get a few good years of use out of it. Talking about the remote first, it sits easily in your hand. You don't feel overwhelmed by how it feels. The layout is also quite simple. All the buttons are laid out in a simple square fashion right on the face of the remote. You'll find the vibration, mode, beep, and shock keys bundled up together with the increase, decrease buttons at the bottom. There's a huge LCD right on top of all this that shows the level of stimulation selected, battery levels, channels, and stimulation type chosen. For once, the remote has dual battery level indicators. You won't have to guess if the receiver's battery is going to get empty or not while you use it. On the right panel, you'll find the power and channel buttons, and to the left, there's a keypad lock. Reaching these buttons or keys isn't hard at all. So far, using all of the remote's functions with one hand is the convenience you get with the product. And I love how all of that is bathed in metallic black. The collar, too, comes with its fair share of design antics that you'll like. Just like the remote, it's compact, well-built, and far-reaching into the fur of your dog. There's an S-shaped indicator light on the front that serves to indicate pairing as well as show you where the dog is. The strap comes in 28 inches, which is more than enough for dogs 8 pounds to 120 pounds. I have used it with a 100 pounds Great Dane puppy. She didn't freak out when I tied it to her neck. However, make sure that you can easily get 2 fingers between the strap and the dog's neck. That should tell you if the collar's too tight or not. You may get a little extra strap once you're done tightening it up. You can get rid of that by first cutting it and then burning the edges with a lighter. And finally at number 1, we have the Vsezund Safest Dog Shock Collar. Vsezund training collars have been designed for concerned parents. They do not pack as much punch as other collars on the market when it comes to stimulating your dog. That doesn't mean they don't work. In fact, they can refocus the dog on your commands in the most humane way possible. I recommend them for timid dogs that listen to their owners. Design couldn't be better. The first thing that comes to my mind when I see Vsezund dog collar is how intuitive the design is. It's minimal, lightweight, and built for daily use. The remote sits in your hands nicely, not overwhelming your palms, considering they are average size. At the same time, though, it may be too big for small hands. Everything on it has been laid out for convenience. For example, the buttons are 3 raised rubbery protrusions roughly centered and running along the length. The beep button takes the first slot, followed by a larger vibration key, and then a smaller shock key. All of them are reachable, not one comes in the way of another when you're pressing it. Below the buttons, there's a small LCD that shows which channel you're on, the stimulation levels, and the battery life. Unfortunately, you won't see the battery indicator of the receiver on the remote. You have to guess if it needs charging. I used to charge it after 2 days out of care for the dog. Otherwise, it does have a good battery life, as you'll read ahead. Overall, the remote is visually appealing and has the right size and placement of keys for daily use. Talking about the collar, it's equally compact and lightweight. In fact, most of the time, your pooch wouldn't even notice that it's wearing a collar. The nylon strap comes in abundance to wrap around even the neck sizes of a 120 pounds dog. But I wouldn't go as far as to consider the product for such huge dogs, especially the Huskies or even Australian Shepherds. If you still have to buy this because of budget constraints and safety concerns, then do buy a bungee collar. It'll make things easier for you. Thanks you for watching, guys. I hope you liked this video. If this video is helpful to you, please make sure like, comment and subscribe. If you have any question related to this product, you can leave a comment down below. I will get back to you.